Hello, everybody, and welcome to Trigger Point, the FFL Business Podcast. Excited to have Mr. Jake Newbold and Daniel Peterson back with me today. How are you boys doing?
Great, Kevin. Thanks for having us, man.
All righty.
Good to see you, man.
We're going to jump into something that I'm sure Daniel probably just eats, breathes, and sleeps, and that's cloud versus server-based software today. So I know that's probably one of his favorite topics to talk about beyond deer hunting. So
it is.
All right, Daniel. So you're first up in the batting order. So let me ask a question, and this is something that I know a lot of our customers and prospective clients are asking, and they want to know why cloud-based FFL software is the future of gun store operations. Take it away.
Well, what an interesting question, and it's funny because I was just thinking on this topic, Kevin. But when you start doing these assessments as businesses, I mean, opening a business is not cheap. So there's a lot of considerations between the location of your business, personnel, the inventory itself, and then you get down to the centralized hub of operations and what is going to run that and what is the cost to the business. A lot of times there's many factors that go into trying to get this business set up, and unfortunately a lot of businesses overlook that being such a big part of the operation in itself should probably be considered, and it's more and more considered sooner than later. But when you're talking specifically about the on-premise solutions, right? What does that cost, right? So what does that mean? So the on-premise solution is a localized, server-based, hardware equipment solution that is provided as a proprietary solution from that service provider. Out of the gate, before you even see what the program does or the software does or how it works within your business, I mean, you're going to be faced with $20,000 to $30,000 of equipment cost out of the gate, right? So you're talking about server stacks. You got to look for the room for it. You're going to have networking capabilities to proprietary equipment that can only be purchased through there. So right out of the gate, I mean, you're committed to a solution that you don't even know is going to work best for you, and it's going to be at an upfront cost that you don't even see the value of it. I mean, that money goes out the door just to get started. So most of the time, those solutions there are very limiting in the fact that whatever you get it. You get the most up-to-date solution that you pay for at that time. Whereas when you compare the cloud-based solution, you're already paying for your internet to the business for other solutions, right? I mean, internet is that's a staple in today's world, but you have access from your phone, you have access from your computers to run your email. And so when you're looking at that solution, I mean, really you're just logging into a website that is basically customized to fit your business operation. And it's not limiting in that regard, right? So you don't have to have, special circumstance to access your information. A lot of times what we've seen is people are, they may have started out in that solution, and then once that business grows to a point where the solution that you have now as an on-premise, you have now outgrown it, and that 20, 30, I mean, I've even heard even upwards of $100,000. You talk about multi-location shops, they have to have that same proprietary equipment in their other locations in order for you to network your business. So once that business outgrows that solution, then in order to upgrade either your capabilities within an on-prem, I mean, you're looking at writing another check for that. So it's definitely a consideration here, because the approach with cloud is that as your business grows, you're not outgrowing your operations hub. And so you can add additional locations. The cost of adding another terminal is just something as simple as going and finding a new laptop that, we've had there's a lot of people in this industry that come from the IT world, surprisingly. So they're going to have access to that equipment a lot better than we would source it. And so it puts the ownership of the business's strategy into the business owner's hands, and it's not held hostage by the service provider.
That's an outstanding explanation. So I'm going to shift to fire over here to the CEO that's always looking at P&Ls and balance sheets, Mr. Jake. So Jake, if I were to ask you, what's the real cost of server-based FFL software from a business owner, kind of a top line to bottom line? What would you say to people about that?
Well, great question. And it's a question we get often: server-based FFL software versus cloud-based FFL software. Daniel hit on a good bit of them. The capital expenditure is obviously a lot more when you have to have a server-based software platform, and bring in a lot of infrastructure, the personnel to manage it, IT personnel. There's cost in that. The infrastructure alone, you might have to upgrade your internet or wiring. A lot of the stuff has to be landline type stuff, and it's very immobile, so it hinders you from being able to access your system anywhere, right? Anywhere you have internet. Server-based. Some of our competitors like Rapid Gun Systems, Celeron, Axis, the kind of older AXIS, Axis, the platform, they're largely server-based platforms. And, we made the decision. We didn't want to go down that way. We wanted a cloud-based platform for the many, many reasons that Daniel just hit on. The system advantages and the mobility you have, the security, contrary to what some people may believe. They may believe that their system's more secure if they have it on their own premise right there, but then you're subject to theft, to fire, to all kinds of issues. And there goes all your data. If you don't have it backed up, you have to back it up constantly on other system, which is going to cost more. Cloud-based systems are super secure. That's what the world uses largely, and almost including the Department of Defense uses largely as cloud-based systems. It's servers are stored, and you have disaster recovery plans as well. So with Trident, we're not just backed up with one server in one region. Say California goes down and we have earthquake or something, and we have servers out there. Well, we also have backup regions as well of our data running in other regions of the nation. So, God forbid something should happen in one area. Well, you have to be 2 is 1, 1 is none kind of thing. You have to be with server-based platforms. You don't really have that. We've seen, not to mention that, but a lot of our competitors, I'm definitely not bashing our competitors. They're trying to run a business just like we are, but they charge, per seat, per license, per user, to use their software. That's an additional cost, where as Trident One, you get everything under the roof for one cost. We don't care if you have 1,000 users or 1 users. Now you can control the permissions that you give. You might want a sales rep not having access to like your, all your accounting or whatever. You can easily control those permissions of what you give each user within the system, but we're not going to charge you extra for that. So that, I think that's a huge advantage, right? Just not getting nickel and dimes for, adding more people. Some of them do like, users 1 through up to 10 or up to 5 users, you pay this, and anything up to 10, then you pay this additional amount, and kind of, it is what it is. We just didn't see any advantage to that.
So there's a lot of great things there I'm hearing. So we've got, obviously you're talking about backups, disaster recovery. I think hardware is a huge one. Let's break this down so even a simple crayon eater like myself can understand. And for a lot of our,
Yep.
clients, gun store owners listening. So the real cost, break this down, Jake, if you had to put this into some dollar amounts here. So when we talk about a server-based software versus a cloud-based software, what does this look like in terms of actual, like what really matters to our clients and prospects? Like what does this look like from a dollars and cents standpoint?
Well, I mean, obviously every business is different size or whatever, but real time world scenario, we've had a multi-location FFL dealer who switched from a server-based system over to Trident One and eliminated over $40,000 in costs. And hardware refreshes. Remember, these hardware servers and hardware stuff, it has to be kept up and replaced every few years, every couple of years sometimes. That's real cost. And we've been able to, Trident One will run off of pretty much any equipment you have. A $100, $200 laptop runs the system just fine. A tablet. So you don't necessarily need to have all this expensive equipment. Will run with whatever, for the most part, whatever equipment you have. So you're not having to buy a lot of new, I guess, upfront capital expenditures. You can switch all that to operational expenses. So you can easily, I would guesstimate, again, depending on the size of the business, easily save between $20,000 to $50,000, especially in upfront costs. But just in the long term, the maintenance. I mean, what else, Nate? You got
another? Sorry to interrupt you, but you had mentioned like the P&L earlier. I mean, think about having a $100,000 line item on your operating expenses and trying to measure how much value and use you're getting out of that line item. And then think about when you look at your light bill, do you evaluate how much value you get out of the use of light and power at your business? I mean, that's what we're talking about here. So it's like, it's fractional in comparison to the expenses to a business, and the value added far outweighs that minimal cost as compared to an investment into a server-based system.
So so that leads me into one of my last questions here, Daniel. So we're gonna see if he's on his game today. So Daniel, what would you say the top 3 advantages are to using Trident One's cloud-based FFL software versus a traditional server software? Give me your top 3.
So I would say number 1 would be the speed of use and the access. So as soon as you're in the Trident One ecosystem, you have access to your store, to your site, within the speed of receiving an email, right? You receive a link. There's no waiting for specialized equipment to be delivered. There's no installation. Like it's virtually immediate. And so to me, and in the world that we live in, right, with all the different offerings that we have in our own personal lives, right, as money goes out, we're counting the time that it takes to use whatever that we've purchased. And so even with this, like, you haven't even paid anything yet and you have access to the system. That's how fast it is. I would say next to that, you're looking at probably the ease of use, right? So it's the speed at which you have access to it, and then the ease of use. It doesn't require someone with a savvy background in software or IT or networking to be able to use this. It's very user friendly. And then I would say number 3 would definitely be that cost, right? Because when you have access to the program and the software that you're planning to run your business through, and it doesn't require, of course, we never liked anything that somebody gave us an instruction manual to, right? We pretty much just take the instruction manual, you throw it out, and you go, hey, I'll figure this out. We've used that same logic of if it's not immediately user friendly, then what are we doing? And then third, it's the cost of the business. So those would be my top three in a nutshell.
So to summarize, according to Daniel Peterson, the top 3 advantages to using Trident One FFL cloud-based software would be speed of access, ease of use, and the cost of the business. Is that correct?
That's it, man. Couldn't have said it better myself.
Outstanding. Well, hey, you did say it. I just summarized it. So, all right. Hey, you know what? That's some great information. A lot of people are asking questions about server versus cloud-based software. I know there's still some misconceptions out there. So it's great bringing 2 of the industry's leading experts in on this. So I appreciate you guys taking the time today and answer some of these questions. We'll call that one a wrap, and I look forward to seeing you gentlemen again in a week or 2.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Kevin.
All right. Have a great one. Take care, guys.
You too.